Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing absolutely wonderful, magnificent, amazing, incredible, and everything is going positively for you. Please comment and let me know how you're doing so I can send you some extra happy, wonderful, positive, loving vibes. Please join me for part 11 of The Alley, written by Mingo Rubio Jr. We're going to do another 20 minutes. I think we only have 2 more parts left. So by part 12, we should be done. I do want to say a special thank you to anyone and everyone that has watched any of my videos. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for you. You have no idea. I hope everyone is doing magnificently. Let's get into part 11 of The Alley, 20 minutes. The Alley, written by Mingo Rubio Jr., which is my father. Let's go. First, we have to take care of this business at hand. Then we can talk about getting things like before. It's gone on far too long. Today, we make a stand. We all felt confident standing there on the shore. Then we saw a shadow starting to cover the moon. Mr. Kim said, "Get ready, boys. It's about that time." He said, "Hold the creature and don't let it get loose." And he had us face it toward the moon in the sky. Mr. Kim had then begun to perform an exorcism. At first, nothing happened from what I could see. Then he said, "In the name of Jesus, I release him." Suddenly, the creature seemed to recognize me. When I looked into the creature's eyes, I sensed a tormented soul that had long been held captive. All of a sudden, I could feel my father's presence, a sort of feeling between us that was retroactive. Its eyes showed me the pain that I too had had, and what I was experiencing was hard to believe. Then I screamed out, "Could it really be you, Dad?" It was my dad's soul, and it wanted to be set free. Mr. Kim said, "Here's a sword. You know what to do, but wait until the moment the demon is exorcised." Then he said, "If you want me to, kid, I'll do it for you." I said, "No, I'll do it," as I wiped tears from my eyes. He was just about done with his demon extraction when the other creature suddenly started jerking. All of a sudden, everyone quickly jumped into action. Mr. Kim said, "Oh no, the drug is no longer working." The evil demon went out of one and into the other, and it was then exhibiting supernatural strength. Mr. Kim said, "Get ready." As the creature recovered, he said, "Surround it, guys, and stay at arm's length." Some guys held it down as it started to go insane, as the others started stabbing it with their swords. But it was so strong it started breaking the chains, and it got even angrier every time it was gored. Suddenly it broke free, and it was then on the loose, and then it started thrashing at everyone in sight. It hit a guy so hard it knocked him out of his shoes. The battle was on, and we couldn't lose this fight. Ralphie went to reload his gun with a different dart. Then he said, "With this dart, there will be no doubt." But the creature got to him before he could start, and it tossed him into the air and knocked him out. As the creature made its way to where he landed, Mr. Kim quickly started to run in Ralphie's direction. Mr. H said, "Wait, you can't take it on single-handed." Mr. Kim said, "Get Ralphie while I draw its attention." Mr. Kim turned to me and said, "Here we go again." He pulled out his gun as the creature turned to him. He faced it and said, "Say hello to my little friend." It snarled and growled as it headed for Mr. Kim. It sure looked like it wanted to do a lot of damage. It had come down to that. It was the only option left. We were trapped. The beast then had the advantage. There was no escaping. It was a matter of life or death. Mr. Kim fired as the creature jumped into the air. It landed on him as it quickly came tumbling down. I thought Mr. Kim was killed right then and there. Then it got up as Mr. Kim lay there on the ground. I ran to help him when the creature moved away. As I got to him, Mr. H started helping him as well. As we picked him up, he asked, "Hey, are you okay?" He said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I just slipped when it fell." Then he said, "Damn, I must have dropped my gun," as the creature was attacking the rest of the guys. And it methodically mowed them down one by one. Then it turned to look at us. It was our time to die, as if it was our time to die. Mr. Kim pushed me out of the way as it got nearer. Suddenly, the creature grabbed him as I fell down. Mr. Kim yelled out, "Go, kid! Get yourself out of here!" So I quickly tried to get up from the dusty ground. When it grabbed him, I thought surely he was dead. I couldn't move for a second. I was just so scared. Then one of the guys started hitting it on the head. As it turned around, it flung Mr. Kim up into the air. When his body hit the ground, it made a loud thud. When I got to him, he said, "Get out of here. Go hide." I knew he was hurt bad. He was coughing up blood. He said, "Leave me here, kid. I'm busted up inside." All of a sudden, the creature grabbed me by my feet. I was so scared, I started screaming rather loud. For a second or two, I thought I was dead meat. Just then, the other creature came to and howled. Then it attacked the other one so I could get away. Mr. Kim said, "Look, it seemed like it's protecting you." What we were witnessing, we were totally amazed. As we fought, we were captivated. As they fought, we were captivated. We didn't move. We were watching a fight between evil and good, a symbolic battle that had gone on for centuries. And for the most part, it has been misunderstood. We hoped good would prevail and get the victory. The beasts clawed each other. They were a wreck as we carried Mr. Kim away from the two of them. Then one of them bit the other on the neck. All of a sudden, the ferocious fight came to an end. The one that came to my rescue was all but done as it staggered to its knees. Then it fell face first. I could hardly believe it. The evil creature had won, as the other one lay there motionless in the dirt. The evil creature peered up from a cloud of dust. I knew that it would continue where it had left off. It was too powerful. It would make quick work of us, and all we had were spears, but that wasn't enough. Suddenly it paused and it stared up at the moon. It was totally captivated, as if it went into a trance. I could see it bleeding a lot because of its wounds, but without a gun, I knew we didn't stand a chance. It kind of stumbled as it was looking up at the sky. It seemed to grow weaker from what I could see. And from what Mr. Kim had told us, we knew why, but we couldn't take advantage of that opportunity. Mr. Kim's theory was correct about the lunar eclipse, that it affected the creature. It was then vulnerable. Mr. Kim said we must kill it with blood on his lips. He tried to stand, but he was so hurt that he stumbled. We looked at him. I knew something wasn't right. Mr. Kim said, "Damn, we almost made history today." I said, "It ain't over. I'm not giving up without a fight. We have come too far. We can't let it end this way." As the creature struggled to focus in the darkness, I was going to use a trick that I had used before. Mr. Kim said, "You've got a minute, more or less." I told Mr. H, "Pick up Mr. Kim and head for the door." I didn't wait either. I had to quickly move into action. We all knew that the diversion wouldn't last long. I'd use every second of that so-called distraction. I reached into my pocket for matches and a bomb. But to my surprise, I had a bomb, but no matches. They must have come out of my pocket when I fell. Mr. H and Mr. Kim were nearly close to the metal hatch as the creature was almost coming out of its spell. They shouted, "It's moving! Get the hell out of there!" Suddenly the creature saw them lying in the dirt. Then the creature's vision was no longer impaired. I knew Mr. Kim couldn't run. He was too badly hurt. The creature turned and was then headed our way. I frantically tried to get its attention, but it was no use. It seemed like it didn't want any of us to escape. I felt so hopeless, but there was nothing I could do. Mr. H confronted the creature by the metal hatch. He said, "We have to fight if it won't let us retreat." Even though Mr. H was a big dude, he was no match. The creature quickly knocked him off of his feet. He tried to wrestle it away when it went to grab him, but it was no use. The creature was just too strong. He tried his best, but the outcome looked grim. Mr. H fought hard, but the fight wouldn't last long. It grabbed Mr. H and flung him around like a rag. Mr. H looked exhausted. He was getting a beating. And if that continued, we would need a body bag. Along with his chances, our hopes were depleting. Mr. H was hanging in there, but he had nothing left. We knew the inevitable was just a matter of time. With one mighty slash, Mr. H was hit in the head. Like Ralphie, he too was catapulted and sent flying. Mr. H grimaced with pain as he stood up again. He was bloody all over. He had been badly clawed. He gritted his teeth, ready to face his bitter end. It approached him as if to apply the coup de grace. Mr. H was done. He wouldn't survive another attack. I had to do something before he was fatally bitten. Out of desperation, I ran and jumped on its back. I started stabbing it with my knife that I had been given. As I was riding the beast, it threw Mr. H to the side. As I stabbed it, I could hear it screech and moan. Like if I was riding a bull, I hung on to its thick hide. Mr. Kim crawled to Mr. H to where he was thrown. This is crazy. When he got to him, Mr. H said, "What is he doing?" Mr. Kim said, "That crazy kid just sacrificed his life. We've got to help him somehow or he is through." Mr. H said, "Look, the kid is stabbing it with his knife." Though dusty, they could see me using my weapon. I hung on to it for dear life and rather determinedly. I was on the creature's back only a few seconds, but let me tell you, to me, it seemed like eternity. All of a sudden, it grabbed a hold of one of my legs, and it spun me around in the air like a little rag doll. I thought it was over. It was going to rip me to shreds. Then it threw me to the ground like a beach ball. I hit the ground rolling, which caused a dusty cloud. I had the creature's attention then, that was for sure. I could hear Mr. Kim and Mr. H screaming out loud. I couldn't really see them. My vision was obscured. At first, all I wanted to do was get its attention, and without thinking, I did the only thing I could do. I didn't want to fight it. That was never my intention. I think I may have bit off more than I could chew. I was in trouble. It was after me and no one else. I needed some sort of miracle or I was done for. I thought at least someone would rush in and help, but I was wrong. I was all alone to face that horror. I heard the creature growling as it got closer to me, as I crawled on my hands and knees to get away. It made a gurgling sound as it struggled to breathe. It sounded hurt, and it was looking to make me pay. It swiped at the ground because of all of the dust, but it was getting lucky, though it was partially blind. I didn't feel it, maybe because of an adrenaline rush. The dust would clear and I would be easy to find. Suddenly, everything sort of went into slow motion. I seemed to see my life go before me in a flash. I caught glimpses of me and my dad at the ocean, one of the places we liked and visited in the past. I didn't know if it was a vision or if it was a dream. I was not sure what it was, but I didn't want it to end. I had almost forgotten when my life was so serene. Since he left, my life had been filled with discontent. Maybe it was God's way of saying it was time to go. Heaven knew that had often been my wish. Recent developments had changed things, though, and besides, I really didn't want to go out like this. Then all of a sudden, poof, my apparition was gone. It was a beautiful vision, though, for what it was worth. And in a split second, hell, it wasn't even that long, I was crawling on my belly, back on planet Earth. Then, miraculously, I couldn't believe what I found. It was Mr. Kim's handgun, the trusty old Colt 45. As quickly as I could, I picked it up off the ground. Suddenly, the dust cleared, almost as by design. I stood up with a newfound courage inside of me. I cocked the gun and took aim as it approached. I fired one shot at it, but the chamber was empty. I used the gun last. Maybe Mr. Kim forgot to reload. But before I could raise the gun and fire it again, the creature hit me and the gun flew from my hand. It was coming fast at me, and it looked determined as I made my way to where the gun had landed. Then I saw it lying there, and I quickly picked it up as the creature went to grab me with its death grip. I only had one chance at that, or I would succumb, so I turned and pulled the trigger and let her rip. As I fired, I squinted my eyes and gritted my teeth, and the creature growled each time that it got hit. And at that moment, I started yelling at the beast. I emptied every chamber on the gun before I quit. The creature released me as it screeched in pain. We both fell screaming. Suddenly, there was no sound. From what I was told, only a cloud of dust remained. The creature collapsed and fell on me, face down. When it fell, it knocked me out for a minute or two. I remember being trapped and I couldn't breathe. Everyone just looked on, not knowing what to do. They probably thought that the beast had killed me. I bet they were shocked at witnessing my demise. I was out cold as I lay under the creature's belly. Mr. Kim quickly came over, helped by two guys. He frantically said, "Help me, the damn thing is heavy." In the commotion, I woke up, still holding the gun. Then I yelled out, "Help me, I'm trapped under here." I tried to get out, but the damn thing weighed a ton. When I got out from under it, Mr. Kim was in tears. He embraced me and said, Kid, I thought you died. I thought you were a goner when you went under." He said, "You must be a cat. You've got 9 lives." After that day, he started calling me Boy Wonder. I tried to walk as I struggled to catch my breath. Mr. Kim asked me, "Are you going to be all right, kid?" Then I noticed there were only a handful of us left. Mr. H said to me, "I can't believe what you just did." The guys all gathered around and congratulated me. I couldn't believe it. They were treating me like a hero. One of the guys said, "Man, you fought like a Marine." Another one remarked, "Dude, you're one bad mofo." Then Mr. Kim noticed the bloodstains on my shirt. He asked me, "Are you bleeding? Is the blood yours?" I said, "I'm all right," not wanting to admit that I was hurt. I looked around. It looked like we had been in a war. Mr. H saw to Ralphie as he helped him to his feet, but he was still a little groggy as he tried to stand. He said, "All I remember is the creature hitting me." Then Mr. H said, "Yeah, and you flew like Superman." Mr. Kim told one of the guys to go get some help. "We need to get some of these guys to the hospital." I could tell that the guy was afraid to go by himself. Mr. Kim threw him a flashlight and told him to go. Our so-called coalition then looked like a MASH unit as we started to administer help to our hurt friends. Mr. Kim stood to his feet and said, "Let's finish it. We must cut off its head so this nightmare can end." Mr. Kim reached into his bag and took out a bottle. It was holy water that he had used for his exorcism. I could tell he was in pain. He walked with a waddle, so Mr. H and Ralphie quickly went and assisted him. We gathered at the creature, lying there in the dust. I said, "Is the holy water going to work? It's nearly dead." He said, "It's too late for that. The holy water is for us," as he started splashing it all around all of our heads. He began to pray, then he gave us a double dose. He said, "Dealing with demons, you can never tell. When it dies, the demons will look for another host. With that one, it goes back to the dungeons of hell. The holy water protects you from being possessed. I doused you guys twice, so there can be no doubt." He said, "Get ready," as we stood there soaking wet. When we cut off its head, the demons will come out." I stood over the creature with the sword in my hand. Mr. Kim said, "Be careful, I think it's still breathing." As I drew my sword, I looked over at the old man. He nodded. Then I cut off its head with one swing. The creature's body twitched a little, then it ceased. Then we heard screeching sounds of pure horror. With the creature dead, the demons were released. We had no idea what to do or what we were in for. We all just stood there frightened in one little spot as the demons tested our wills and our resistance. We would have to endure the demonic onslaught, and for most of us there, that was a new experience. There we were, huddled together in a small group, none of us willing to relinquish the spiritual fight. Then the noise grew faint as they started to move. The sounds went over the pond and into the night. The demons were gone. We were left in disbelief. Then we could sort of relax a little bit, or at least try. Suddenly, a strange sound interrupted our relief. The other creature was gasping. It was still alive. Mr. Kim said, "It's not over yet, kid. Get the sword. The creature's moving. There is no time to waste." Then Mr. Kim noticed something and said, "My Lord," he said, "look at it. The creature has a man's face." Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Thank you guys for so much for joining me for part 11 of The Alley, written by Mingo Rubio Jr. I do want to say a special thank you to anyone and everyone that watched my live recently. I hope to see you guys at the next one. Please remember, I am always sending you positive, happy, loving, wonderful vibes. I wish you guys a magnificent Monday, a terrific Taco Tuesday, a wonderful Wednesday, a thankful Thursday, a fantastic Friday, a spectacular Saturday, and a super Sunday fun day. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. And thank you, YouTube.